I wanted to do something where we could actually give kids in Cypress the opportunity to develop at a much more competitive level. If that would be my best way to explain it. My brother passed in 2019, which was my son's first year playing, and part of it was giving people something to do that we didn't have. You know, something to keep these boys bonded together was a big reason.
Hmm.
Keep them growing up together. And we've had our 10U team since most of them have been 4 and 5. It's most of the same kids we started with in Cypress Sports. It's not like we went and picked, the best kids in the city and
Yeah.
started the team. We're homegrown. We really built what we have. So
Okay. Okay. And how has the journey been since starting the organization?
um it's been really I have some great guys that help me. Troy White, Eddie Gonzalez, Eddie Russ, they do the majority of the work. They're really the organization. They do all the behind the scenes stuff. So it's really been pretty smooth. Troy lives it, so he's doing stuff every day, all the time. So we keep it organized enough that it's not very complicated at all. And we were the first one to come back to Cyprus. There's been other select leagues in Cyprus or
Hmm.
teams, but they were all gone at that point. And so we took in a lot of people and have been going. There's a lot of competition that has popped up since we started, which is good. It's good for the youth to have multiple choices out there, and we can't keep everybody. We can't have everybody. So having these other teams, it's a good thing. We kind of trailblazed that, and now everybody is trying to start a team. So, but it's been pretty smooth
Yeah.
overall.
Okay. How do you handle those if you have any?
Um, Challenges. I would really say it's really just hate. People don't want to see other people succeed, so they'll try to do anything they can to
Hmm.
downplay what you're doing, lie about what we have going on. That would be the biggest challenge. Has just been like unhappy parents that decide they're gonna badmouth the organization and try to
Hmm.
blast stuff on social media. But I think after my first year, I think that's part of anything you do. You're gonna have haters, right? Always. So
Yeah. Yep.
after I realized
Tell me
that,
about
yeah, after I
it.
realized that, it really hasn't been much. I just kind of let that roll off my shoulder, and it does bother me sometimes, but I sleep the same at night, whether they're you know mad at me or they're not. So I don't. I try my best not to let it bother me. I don't get
Hmm.
involved in any kind of altercations on social media or anything like that because I don't need to. I
Right.
have a proven program, 400 something kids. We go all the way through high school. We have plenty of kids playing college football. I don't really need to argue with people, that are just saying stuff that are
Hmm.
more or less jealous. So that I let that go by.
The Bombers, the Impact Goals, to name a few, and like he's, but it's so crazy, like that everybody just looking on him to see the type of things that he do, what he do, always worried about, the things that he do, and it's like man, just give him a break. But I guess that comes with
The
trying to
territory.
get
Yeah.
into the territory, yeah, with the big ones.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Hmm.
And especially if he's smaller, they're going to try to knock him down just because they worried about it hurting what they got going on. But
Yeah.
if you're doing it for the right reasons and doing it for the kids, you'll be. I mean, you really can't fail. So,
Hmm.
but a
Yeah.
lot of people don't. A lot of people do it for other reasons.
Yeah, yep, you're right. You're right, man. So like in the past and in the football, not saying it happened, to y'all or anything, but the incidents that you like see on social media and everything, that happens in the youth football world, man. How do you feel about that type of stuff?
Um, I hate it. I mean, and it has happened with us. Nothing obviously is bad, but we run zero tolerance. So like from year one, our very first year we started, there was a fight at practice. Our very first year, probably like 2 months into it, and it was two moms, and it was a quarterback and the running back on our 12. So two main pieces, and we let both of them
Right.
go. We told them y'all both have, y'all can't be here. Y'all are done. We made the coaches mad, made a lot of people mad. The team suffered, but I feel like that was definitely a building block for our org to show that
Mhm.
we don't allow any kind of we're zero tolerance. So any drama,
Yeah.
doesn't matter who you are, you got to go because it's not a place for that. We're putting kids in the football so they stay out of all that other stuff.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we try our best, but we see it everywhere. We were in San Antonio um, in preseason playing in a tournament, and there was a huge fight. Somebody even pulled a gun. They didn't fire it or nothing, but they flashed their gun, and the cop put him on his head. Luckily, it was right there. And
Yeah.
it wasn't even with our team, but we're all standing right there, and bullet don't have no name. So
Exactly.
um, I, I I I hate that, but I feel like that's the culture of youth sports, really, which is sad. I like people are doing it for the wrong reasons. And if you're
Yeah.
playing if
Yeah.
you're playing your rivalry team, most of the time they're within 10 miles of you. Guess what? All them
Mhm.
kids gonna play together in high school. So these
Yeah.
coaches teaching them to hate each other is just it's ignorant, really.
Pointless. Yeah.
Yeah,
It makes no sense at all. It's funny. I mean,
right, right. Exactly.
like you're not at a club or something
Yeah,
like it's kids and kids' lives, is
yeah,
right in the middle of all that.
yeah. And it's so many of the coaches and parents that are living through the kids and trying to play through the kids that
Hmm.
they're taking all the fun out of it, and the wrong mindsets and sports in general. Like I said, I'll go back to we're doing this so they don't get involved in that kind of stuff. And
Right.
a lot of the coaches are bringing that into the games, and it's just dumb. So
Hmm.
I can't speak. I know we're very very rough. You know we definitely
Yeah, it's a rough
do like
sport.
a killer instinct, but at the same
Yeah.
time we're not stupid.
Right.
We're
Hmm.
not going to the boys get in fights, and if they don't, then they may be in their own sport, but that's a different
Hmm.
level. We have to understand as coaches and as adults that after the game, they're going to be playing football in the next field, having fun. Like kids
Yeah.
can fight, we
Hmm.
can't do that. We have to, tell them right from wrong. So when
Yeah.
it boils over is when the kids fight, the coaches start fighting, the parents start fighting. The kids are gonna fight. It's just part of it.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, you just imagine how much they talk smack during the whole game anyway.
yeah,
So I
exactly.
mean, it's just like that. But you said like it's part of the sport. Like
Right,
that's like to me, like me when I played basketball growing up, like I talked the whole time,
right.
right? I didn't mean no intentions on it. Like that was just the way I played the game. Just talk smack. Like I'm not here trying to fight you. That's
I think it's
just
part of it. I really think it's part of
yeah.
it.
Hmm.
I think the kids that play select, I think they have an edge going into high school because they're already used to that aspect of the game. Like a
Hmm.
lot of the rec teams are more strict on conduct and all that. And when you get into
Hmm.
high school level, man, they're coming for your throat.
Yeah.
Every dude on the field, every player, and these kids already have that out of their system. They can laugh that off. That
Hmm.
we've been dealing with this since we've been eight. So
Yeah.
um, I think that's actually an advantage. As bad as that sounds, I think that's an advantage of playing in a little bit rougher, select league versus neighborhood league.
Yeah.
Now,
No, no,
plenty of
I
kids make
agree.
it out of the neighborhood league. Plenty of kids make it. If
Hmm.
you're a dog, you're going to be a dog. You're going to come through eventually. But
Yeah.
I just think they have that edge. The
Hmm.
difference
Oh
from
no,
hitting
I
varsity
agree.
as a sophomore versus a junior. That's to me that's the
Hmm.
difference. Those little things like that.
Yep. Yep.
So really, if anybody wants to coach, we're willing to talk to them. Because we'll take help at anywhere. We try to get 10 to 12 coaches per team. So what we don't usually allow is I don't like the dad to coach the same side his son plays on. Because it causes issues with other parents. So
Mhm.
like, luckily, my head coaches are really have been there a while. My 6U head coach this year just took over. He doesn't have a kid on the team, which helps. My my 8U coach, his son is on the running back, but he's has all the accolades. Great coach, no issues.
Mhm.
He's in the Texas Football Hall of Fame, so he knows.
Okay.
He really knows what's going on. And my 10U coach, son's on the O line. Not many people complaining about, man, why your kid play O line?
Right.
And he's been with me
Why
since
you
day
playing the
one.
offensive
So
tackle? No,
yeah,
that's yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's just such a the high school level gets a lot more difficult at finding coaches. Because you got to start. A lot of these programs are paying their coaches. We're not. We're nonprofit. We don't pay the coaches. I like to try to put all that money back into the athletes, back into helping getting them recruited, back into doing more fun stuff. So sometimes at the high school level, it is a little bit more difficult to find the top end coaches. But to me, I have the best ones in the state of Texas. So um, just luckily, just blessed. God just put that. I got my guy Eddie Russ. He played in the NFL, played in the CFL, 8-year pro. He's my head guy at the high school level. Then I got Michael Robinson, who's a Nike Elite 11 quarterbacks coach. So we just got blessed, really just pure luck at that level, and when you have the talent that we have, coaches want to come sometimes too because it makes them look good. If
Yeah,
you got
make their job easy too.
Yeah, exactly. Because as I tell all my high school kids, because on 18 level we have 5 teams, or we're going to have 5 teams this coming season. Last year
Mhm.
we had 3, and I tell all those kids like nationally or anything social media wise, it don't matter what team you're on. Go out there and play.
Yeah.
Because if we win the tournament, nobody's going to say, "Oh, well, you weren't on that team that won." We win as an org. We
Mhm.
grow as an org. So if you play for any of our teams, it's a good look for you to be in the program. So
Yep.
the kids
Yep.
do get jealous of, "Well, why am I not on this team, or why am I on that team, and why am I? We have to build these teams so kids play. You know, um,
Mhm.
you have Paris Melvin Jr. out there playing both sides of the ball. There's not many kids in the United States that are going to take his spot. So um, you can either sit on the bench or you can go play on the next team. And it's nothing against the kid. It's nothing
Right.
against the athlete. A lot of teams he would be the dude, and he's the dude on the next team. And it's just kind of a growing process that I'm still learning on how to balance all that the right way. Because we do have so much. I mean, even
Mhm.
our like kids on our fourth team would be starters on a lot of top end teams. So it's like just figuring out how to balance the talent, and make everybody happy. So, but it's worked out really good. Like parents definitely rather their kids be playing, and I could easily go from 5 teams to probably I wouldn't say 2, but I could easily go from 5 back to 3. But then we're having 7-on-7 teams, 25, 30 kids deep, and you're playing 7 kids at a time. So
Mhm.
it's just too. I'd rather pay that extra $800 and just enter more teams. So,
Okay.
but
Yeah. So I was scrolling through the social media, and man, you got one dude that got the back flap, and they got him on the back.
that's Paris Melvin.
Who's
That's
that?
the one I just said. Paris Melvin
Oh,
Jr.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely that dude. And
Yeah.
he's just really just like a generational talent. He's
Mhm.
a special athlete. His dad's had him in it since he was 4. I'm blessed that they
Mhm.
decided to come over with us. Really, I'm not taking any credit for building that kid or anything like that. He'd be a dog no matter where he was, whether he was with us or not. What I feel like I bring to Paris is the exposure. Helping him just balance that exposure and get more of it. And he's
Mhm.
also helped us a ton. Don't get it wrong. He's Paris has helped my program a ton. Having him in it is great. We have a lot of kids that are uber talented. It's just Paris. He took that next step. He's really a special athlete, and
Okay.
we have so many that are right there with them, just really really talented kids. They just haven't been noticed like he has yet. And
Mhm.
like I said, he's a generational type talent. I mean, he touches the
Yeah.
ball, he's usually scoring, and that's in Texas
Mhm.
6A football. So nobody can say anything about that. But
Mhm.
yeah, he's a dude for sure.
Okay, yeah. Man, let's say, you get a coach and they get into, a confrontation and it just gets out of hand. Like, how do you handle that?
Um, it happens. You know, it's. I think that's a case by case basis. I try to tell all my. I mean, they're grown men, right? So
Right.
worst case scenario, if I have to get rid of them, I have to get rid of them, even if they're right. Try to tell them all like we still gotta you know show we have to put on a good example, right? Now, I've
Mhm.
been guilty of being one of those coaches getting into confrontation. I've been kicked out of games. Used to be a lot worse. A lot when I first started, I was a lot worse, and now I realize I don't need to do all that stuff.
Right.
Uh, it, it's such a case by case basis. It's hard to say. Most of my coaches I have, they'll get heated. I mean, but they know, all right, bro. Like y'all are trying to take it to the next level. Y'all are stupid. If you want to do that, then
Mhm.
call me later. And I've had
Yeah, right.
coaches drop his phone number on the internet site. Like, hey, y'all want to really talk? Let's talk. And that's what I'd rather them do. If y'all want to act like that, do it on your own time. I'm not saying you got to be no punk or nothing or turn the other cheek, but
Right.
don't do it on Cypress Elite's time because it's just a bad look for the program. Um, so
Mhm.
we really don't have that many issues with that. We have a lot of people that talk. I tell my coaches, when y'all come over here and coach with us, expect to get hate because we're from Cyprus. They think we're rich. They think we're suburban. They think we're
Mhm.
soft. They think everything in between, and we come out and punch them in the mouth. And that makes them even madder. So it's to be expected. We're gonna get plenty of hate every time on Facebook or on somebody talking shit. And I have to tell them just let them talk, bro. Like you don't even got to respond to them because
For
they
real.
like what are they talking for? They literally lost. So
Mhm. Yeah, they lost.
like, come on, man. Like it's even if they won, right? Who cares? Like what are you like? We're little kids, bro.
They
Like
make it a big deal about it.
just just and then in 7-on-7 it's the same way, but you have some good ones and you have a lot of bad ones. You have a lot 7-on-7. You have a lot more people doing it for the wrong reason. A lot more because it's easier to go start a 7-on-7 team. Anybody can throw together 10 kids and go play. To start an org is hard now. Like what I do is like some of the biggest orgs. Like I'll give a shout out. My guy Kenny, he runs Blur. He him and I work together, and nobody really knows that. They obviously they do now. They're on the show or they're going to see the show, but
Yeah.
like that's my guy. We're rivals in the sport, but like, hey, dude, I got this kid. I'm really deep at DB, but he's probably one of the best. You want to, stuff like that, and um,
Mhm.
we work together and don't let our ego get in the way of it. And we have two of the biggest programs. I was one in the state. He was three. It's going to stay something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, but
You gonna say one, just say it.
yeah, but no, he's always got some of the best talent. He had Trey Owens come through there, the kid that just signed with Texas. So I feel like if you're doing it for the right reason, you have to work with other teams because it's more than
Mhm.
just trying to take over everything or be the best at everything. Really, the goal is to get these kids I wouldn't necessarily say our goal is always to get them in college, right? But really, the goal is to just keep them from straying onto a bad path, you know. And if you're doing
Right.
it for that reason, you have to work with everybody. You know, some of the OGs that have been doing youth football since I've been little out there are people I listen to the most. You know, and they always tell me, man, the hardest part for us to figure out was knowing all these kids are going to play together when they leave us. So don't make it more than it is, you know. Because as soon as they get in high school, the coaches don't care who you played for little league. They don't care if you played little league, really. You know, they want you to go out there and perform. And our org does a good job of teaching fundamentals and teaching how to be the best when you go out there on the practice field. You know, tryouts or practice or whatever. Like you got to go out there and be different. You know, when you go to these college camps, go out there and be different, stand out. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where we try to push our fundamentals and teaching and everything else. So,
Okay. How involved, you get to the like the high school level, and they start the, colleges start reaching out. How involved is your organization when it comes to, helping these kids make sure they get the right looks in with the colleges?
okay, so that's actually our biggest thing. Like that's where we kind of pass everybody up, you know, because
Hmm.
that's what I also do for a living. Is I'm a scout recruit, all that stuff with
Okay.
all those brands. So we have an upper hand or a base to really help those kids with all that, you know.
Hmm.
So we get super involved with it. That to me, that's more important than anything else we do. If I can go to a tournament and 7-on-7 and go 0-4, you know, I can go 0-4 and leave, you know, get kicked out the first day Sunday. You know, we went 0-3 Saturday, we lost the first game Sunday, we're done. And exposure wise, it's going to look just like we won the tournament. Exposure wise, I'm going to get the
Hmm.
same content out to the coaches, same, you know, Twitter's a big deal. Instagram, believe it or not, is a big deal. You know, people don't necessarily see it like that. It's not Twitter, but Instagram is a big deal. All those coaches have Instagrams and they see everything that's posted on both, you know. Um,
Okay.
so we have, you know, we have ties at tons of schools. And another thing, you know, God blessed me with great people. I've been into recruiting since I've been in high school. I started working on that when I was in high school, figuring out how to help kids in school get recruited, figure out how to just be have contacts with all. That's something that's always interests me, actually more than the game of football. So
Hmm.
that's always been my strength, and I've been super blessed to be, you know, God put guys in my life like Brandon Howard. You know, he's to me he's the biggest recruiting face in the United States. You know, and he's really kind of mentored me and taught me a lot of stuff, and he's helped me a bunch. You know, and I've got other guys that have come up and starting to help. Brandon Williams is another one. He's, you know, a huge trainer out of Dallas that has a ton of college ties. I feel like in recruiting, it's who you know. You know, it's
Hmm.
if I have a network of 15 coaches that each know 100 college coaches, you know, we can pretty much get anybody looked at. I can't. I think anybody that guarantees an offer is always a liar. But I don't think it's that hard to get kids offers. You know, I'm not saying D1, Power Five, but not that
Right.
hard.
The offer
Yeah.
is the offer.
Once they start coming, you know, they start really rolling in.
Hmm.
It's just kind of a it's kind of a science to that stuff, you know, and I'm still learning a bunch, but I've been blessed to be put around, to me, the smartest guys in the industry are doing it. So hopefully within the next
Hmm.
5-10 years, I'm going to be kind of know that like the back of my hand, and it's evolving every day. So
Yeah.
you got to evolve with it. But I definitely feel like that's my strength, and that's where I'm building my program further around to grow. Like the youth aspect of it is more for fun, you know. But I definitely like with my group of 10-year-olds that I've had since they've been 4 and 5. I mean, I've had
Hmm.
all those kids. I have about 28 of them. I think I've lost 2 or 3 over the years, and some have come
Man,
back.
that's
You know,
good. That's good.
um, my goal as a person is if they want to play football, I want to get all of them playing college football. Every single one of them. And that's kind of my personal goal with my group of 10-year-olds. Now I'm starting
Okay.
another group of 6-year-olds with my other son. Been a little hectic. I forgot how rough it is to go back down to the babies, but they're great. They're fun. It's just I feel like being that I wasn't as competitive at that age back then, I'm kind of having to explain to the parents like calm down. It's not as
Yeah,
critical
exactly.
as you think right now. Let them
Hmm.
kind of mold into their self. But we have one of the most competitive 6Us in the state, so it is hard because they are really talented kids, even at that young age. So you lose the game, and it's like all chaos breaking loose, and it's like it's gonna be okay. They gonna be 7 next year. It's not. We're not talking to Saban yet. It's but and it's fun. The recruiting part is fun. We got to go on a trip last year and go to all the SEC schools on a recruiting visit.
Nice.
I think we took 10 kids out of 75 that were taken in the United States. We took 10 of our kids, and we went to Alabama, Florida, Florida State. Um, again, we had some dogs on that trip, some special talent. They got to show their talent in front of a lot of coaches that also have ties at other schools. So what I always
Hmm.
tell these kids is treat all those coaches, treat the janitor the same way, because
Yeah.
he could be coaching at a D3 school that hasn't won a game in 5 years, and 5 years down the road he might be the defensive coordinator for Auburn. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't
You
know.
never know.
And that just goes with again teaching them how to be young men and teaching them bigger than football. You treat everybody the right way, and it's the parents have to get involved in recruiting. Maybe you can call some people and make sure he gets invited to a camp, right? But if you're a trainer of a kid, you should be doing that anyways, right? Now there's recruiting services, NSAIA, Up Next Athletes. There's good services, but if it is a good service and you sign up, it's gonna make you do your work, your own work, right?
Hmm.
I'm gonna put you in the place, but you got to do your work.
Yeah.
If I'm going to U of H, if my son's going to U of H on a visit or a workout or a camp, he's going to be studying that week. He's going to be studying not just their coaches. I want him to know the recruiting coordinators. I want him to know the student helping recruiting coordinators. So when I'm at this camp, I can call people by name. How do you stand
Hmm.
out at a camp? Giving away secrets that people paying a lot of money for. But if I know this little kid that is a student assistant of recruiting, and I know him by name, hey, what's up? What's up, Bobby Joe? How he's gonna blow his mind. How's this kid know? I need to go
Yeah.
find him on Twitter. I need to go find him on Instagram. I need to make sure the coaches
Hmm.
know him because he knows me. It's little
Yeah.
stuff like that makes. I mean, it makes a huge difference.
Huge
Just
difference. Yeah.
a little tidbit that like take time and do your homework and it'll happen, but you got to work. You got to put in work. If you're Paris Melvin, you can show up, right? If you're him, you can show up and they're going to give
Yeah.
you effort. If you're not, if you don't have that film, if you don't have that, 4.3 speed, just put in work. It's going to come. It may not come as fast as you want, but you start calling
Hmm.
coaches by name and all their helpers by damn near the janitors by name. Somebody's going to notice you. And
Hmm.
it's just the era we live in. People don't want to work. They don't want to put in work. They just want it to be
Yep.
handed to them.
Hmm.
That's what separates, the athletes. That's
Yep.
if you're not going to put in work to look on your phone and go over all their staff, how are you going to put in work to be great on Saturday when they need you to be great on Saturday?
Hmm.
Little stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So you said you coach, the younger ones, 10U, you have a 10U team, and you starting another 6U team. When is 6U for y'all, is it flag or is it tackle?
No, it's tackle. We let them play 5 and 6 in tackle. We start some of the
Okay.
5-year-olds in flag. Our 7U team, Coach Bobby, that's one of the best teams we've had in a long time since we started. They were 6U last year, won every game but the championship.
Mm.
That's just how it happens sometimes. six U. Some people kind of cringe when they hear tackle, but over the city, there's 106U tackle teams. You know, it's
Yeah.
them dudes running into each other. You know, if you could find a few of them that can stand up when the other ones fall down, that's really, really, what it takes. So um, it's just putting in extra work with those kids. Like I said, going back down there to 6U this year because Coach Bobby, the guy, my 6U coach last year, I didn't have to help them with anything. Coach Troy, Bobby, those other coaches handled everything. I mean, there was no drama. I didn't have to go down there and really assist with anything. So this year, when I said, I'll help with 6U, my son's going to play over there. I was just like, oh shit, what? What did these kids just? It's such a difference because I look back and I think like my 10-year-olds are some of the best kids in the state, and they're so developed and so like mentally in tune that it doesn't take a whole lot of the actual like fundamental part. It's more just
Right.
coaching them. And you go back down to 6U, and these kids are picking their
Have
nose,
no idea.
trying to put their booger in the other one's mouth, and it's just, and you can punish them and you can make them do up downs, and they just laugh at
Yeah, it
you.
won't stop.
They don't care. Coach, you want me to run to the fence again? Okay, let me go. Let me run to the fence again. You're doing it as a punishment, and they're asking if they can do it again. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's keeping it fun for them. It's difficult. It really is because it's such a fine line of keeping it fun for that age, so they want to play, but also
Hmm.
still instilling fundamentals in those guys.
Right.
It's they're getting there. They're getting there. Slowly. I got some good coaches down there that are getting them under control. So
Hmm.
I try not to coach too much. I try to stay back and run everything and look over everything. Now game days, if I see something, I'm obviously going to say something. But I have a good relationship with all my coaches that they don't ever take it any way. And
Personal, yeah.
I tell them the same thing. If I'm saying something wrong and y'all notice it, say something.
Say
But
something. Hmm.
I'm around so much football. I eat, sleep, live this football. It's year round for me. With recruiting, it's literally year round. I'm watching football every day, all day on social media. Sometimes I'm going to notice little things on defense, especially at young ages, where it's like oblivious that, hey, attack this, it's going to work. And
Hmm.
they all understand that, and some of them know football more than me. It's just something that you see sometimes that somebody else doesn't see. So it's having a good relationship with your coaches, being able to help each other without
Hmm.
egos getting in the way, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
But we've all been around for a while and know each other pretty good, so it works out.
Okay. Like what's some drills that you do for the younger ones to for footwork, tackling, even defense for the DBs, and stuff like that. What's some common drills that you would do to help them out?
So you get me in trouble here, but I'm big.
Hey, don't give hey, don't give away all your information now,
I,
don't.
I'm big on like one of the guys that when I was young and started working, he worked at my shop, and his name's John Carter. He's been like a mentor to me. He's coached Little League football. I started working there when I was 19, and kind of like I've always been into football, like I said. So I went and
Mhm.
watched his son play, listened to him coach, and he coached Acres Home Bulldogs, and he still
Okay.
coaches them. This all these years later, he's still a 6U coach over there.
Oh
And
wow. He didn't move up.
he loves it. He loves the babies, and and he's developed some of the best kids in the city. I mean, a lot of the kids that when I started watching him playing the 6U, they
Mhm.
graduated with me from the lab last year. So that's how long it's been. So they graduated from the lab last year and went off to play college ball. The same
Mm.
6-year-olds I was watching all those years back. And he always told me like to him the most important thing is having the kids that can just hit, making that other team want to quit by halftime. So because your kids are hitting, they're developmentally sound on tackling, and not only are they tackling right, but they're giving that extra oomph on every tackle.
Mhm.
So I'm a big believer. Like I tell my coaches, like if we got to tackle the majority of practice until we get it right, let's tackle. I mean, because if we can't tackle, can't win a game. If you
Right.
can and they can't score a point, you can win a game, even if you score 3 points. If they can't score, we've won games off the safeties where it was 2-0. So
Mm.
I'm a big believer on just being a little more physical than everybody. And again, I feel that benefits the kids as they get older because when they get into middle school and you're playing with, I'll say 70% of kids that maybe have never played football or played at a
Right.
very, very low level,
Hmm.
you get out there on that practice field and you're making them cry. It and I hate to say it like that because some of those kids that cry end up being some of the best kids too. I'm not taking anything
Hmm.
from them, but you're a step ahead, right? Because you're more physical. You're used to the dog part of the game, the rough part of the game.
Yeah.
Like you said, the talking, you're used to it. The physicality, man. We're really we're we're super physical. We don't take kids crying at practice. Kids don't want to tackle. Get in line. Get in the front of the line. You don't have to tackle. You're carrying the ball. You're gonna get hit. If you don't
You
want to
go
hit,
get
you're gonna get
tackled.
hit. So it's bringing that, and either they make it or they quit. And it's like
Hmm.
90% of the time they make it. Some of them, it's just a little physical. They'll quit. They'll come back. And it's not. It's like I said. It may not sound right, but I feel like it's such a big part of the game. We try to instill that in our kids. Like, just you
Yeah.
have to be physical. If you're not, you're just not in the right program. And some other coaches, some other programs may teach more gator roll fundamental stuff. Like, we teach how to tackle. We've had on the books, I've had one concussion since I've been doing this. Now, I'm sure there's been more that we didn't know about, but we've ever had one concussion that a kid actually went to the doctor and said he had a concussion, and everything else. It's just kids. We teach them where to put their head and all that, but I teach them, they're going to tackle. They're going to tackle. They're going to tackle. And
Hmm.
until we show all the kids are tackling good, we'll tackle most of practice. And um,
Okay.
that was one reason we left like rec ball because that's highly like frowned upon. You're allowed to hit for 10 minutes at practice, bro. You can't even get these kids to put their pads on for. You
For
know what I
real.
mean?
That's 10 minutes right there.
So a lot of people frown upon that though, but I'm a believer in old school and a little bit different mentality and that aspect of the game. I feel like if you're kind of molded and come up rougher, you also have I've seen personally less injuries. May sound stupid, but these kids that have been hitting hard like that, they get up there and see them get their ass banged, and they get right back up. Go to
Mhm.
they're not laying on the ground for 10 minutes whining or
Right.
hurting. And it's that's what we do. Most of our drills are just a little more rough. Now we do ladders, we do all the regular basic drills, but I like to we'll play on air, we'll play ghost defenses and run offense on air and all that. But
Hmm.
I feel like most of my drills that I like to do are actual contact. Even we'll go
Get
offense
them
versus
used
defense.
to it.
Yep. So
Hmm.
we do a whole lot of O line versus D line, just getting off the ball. Uh,
Hmm.
especially at 10U level. I've done that forever. We'll go offensive linemen versus defensive ends, defensive tackles, and just I'll make them go a whole practice just working on different stuff. Get off everything, pass blocking, run blocking, uh, the holding the edge, just everything. But I like the drills that are more physical because I feel like if you can do it with somebody in front of you or you can do it against
Hmm.
somebody, you can do it against air, right? I mean, you can
Yeah.
look good against air if you can look good against a human body, regardless of how
Right.
talented he is.
Hmm. Yeah, and all those drills you start that like with your 10U team because some people like you said a whole lot there. Me not being used to the football aspect. My son he want to start playing, but he was like, I don't want to play tackle.
Right. No.
He like me. He like
Right.
me. We ain't trying to get hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's funny though too because you get a lot of kids that come out there that they're not interested in getting hit. And
Hmm.
it just they all mold different. Some of those kids are killers on defense because they'll hit, but they don't want to get hit.
They don't want to.
Some of
Yeah.
those kids turn into just special players because they moving. You ain't hitting them.
Hmm.
They
Yeah.
moving different. So it's oh man, that's definitely. I mean, that's a problem we deal with day in and day out. Is a lot of the kids don't want to get hit. I mean, even the dogs they don't like getting hit. It's
Hmm.
just them. They get used to it, and I think that's another benefit of playing tackle that parents worry about concussions. Parents worry about, oh,
Yeah.
my son not going to play tackle till he's in high school. I mean,
Yeah. Then it's
plenty
gonna
have
be
made it,
different.
right? Plenty have made it, and don't
Hmm.
take that wrong ever. I have plenty of kids in my 7-on-7 program that don't play tackle just because their parents are highly against tackle, right? And
Hmm.
obviously, I'm not going to turn away people to play if they don't want to play tackle. Like
Hmm.
I disagree, but if that's your mindset, that's I respect that. You can play 7-on-7. Just know when you get into high school or whenever you decide to play tackle, you're going to be playing against kids that have been playing tackle since they've been 5.
Hmm.
So if you like I said, plenty of them make it. Plenty of kids start in high school and do just fine, but it's kind of like your chances are way different if you start earlier, And like I
Yeah.
said, also just learning how to take hits and take contact. Your
Hmm.
injuries go down too if you start earlier, if you're coached right, if you're taught right, because you understand what's coming. The big injuries are hard to stop because it's
Yeah.
a
You
lot of
can't.
these
Yeah. You
kids
can't do nothing about those.
running 100 miles an hour into each other. What are you going to do?
Exactly.
It don't matter if you've played since you've been 4. It's just
Hmm.
the majority, 90% of the small stuff. You can kind of coach a lot of that, and they just understand naturally how to take that contact. You go
Yeah.
watch a lot of those clips from my high school boys on Instagram. You could see like when they're getting hit, they know how to kind of
Yeah.
take that
Hmm.
contact. So it makes a big difference if you start younger, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's
But we
that's
start all
like
our
the
drills.
injury part. The
Yeah,
injury part is like that was always my fear. Like I was like, man, I don't want to get injured,
right.
right? But and then you're like, well, I mean, if you getting tackled, I mean, you got a high chance of getting it. But at the same time, me, like I was a basketball player, you jump up and land, and you got a high chance of getting
I lose
injured.
I lose more of my football players playing basketball in the off season than I do the
Yeah,
football injuries.
yeah.
One of my best kids last year, Joey Bruin at Tomball, I pissed the hell off. Right after the season, we're going into 7-on-7. He's one of my top kids. Separated his shoulder playing basketball, and I'm like, bro, how you play football all season and separate your
Right.
shoulder playing basketball? Like, so I feel like injuries or whatever sport you play in, it's just a chance. Like
Hmm.
you have a chance of injury, and
Yeah.
like I said, I lose a lot of kids in basketball to injuries more than I lose during football season. So
Football. Hmm.
it's it just happens.
Just yeah, it's happens. Yeah, my daughter, she plays, so she like second year 12U in softball,
Yeah,
and she got injured. She sprained her LCL, MCL, one of them. She sprained it. A girl slid into her,
right.
and I had to explain to her like, this is part of playing sports, right?
Yeah.
Injuries, and she's just one of those kids that she loved to play softball. Without softball, she don't know what she'll do with her life.
Yeah.
So,
My
but I'm
son,
like,
yeah, that's my son. He sprained his ACL last year to end the season, and
mm-hmm,
the third week before the third to last week of the season, he sprained his ACL. We thought for sure he tore it. Went to the
mm-hmm,
medical center, had all the tests done. Doctor came in there. Yeah, he's got a torn ACL. You know, doing all this. They
yeah,
ran more tests. Hey, it's not torn, just a sprain. God saved us on that one. I was scared to
mm-hmm.
death, man. I was like, you start second guessing everything. Like, man, why have my kid playing this? Why have him do it?
Hmm.
He's only
Yeah,
9,
but
tearing his ACL, and then I'm like, damn. But it's just part of it. It's a chance you
hmm,
take to happen.
hmm.
And he's a damn linebacker, defensive end. He ain't even moving like these dudes. But luck. Thank God, I held him out the rest of the season. He got cleared the week before the playoffs, but I wouldn't let him play, and he was. I was like, dude, I don't care. Be mad at me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
you're not playing. You can play 7-on-7. You can play next year. So he was
Hmm.
he was mad for sure, but he's good now, and he's healthy now. So they
All
cleared him.
right, that's
I
good.
didn't clear him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He sat out. They made it all the way to the championship game, and I didn't let him play. They lost, and he's like, "If I would have played," I said, "No, no, y'all wouldn't. No, come on, dude. You ain't that dude. Like, no, well, I would have, But he was upset. I didn't let him play, but I told him, you're 9. You got a lot of football ahead of you. Let's take
Hmm.
our
A lot of
time
life.
and
Yeah.
do it right. So
Hmm.
that was very scary for sure. Very, very skilled.
Yeah. Yeah. So man, you know, in softball, right, is a sport. You don't have many people to a team.
So in 7-on-7, it's definitely a bigger thing because it's easier to throw a kid on the team anytime. Tackle football, I think the nature that it is now, that yeah, it is a thing, but I keep that out of my program. Even like talented kids that want to come in the off season, I'm really picky on who I let come because of our culture. You know, I'd rather keep a kid that's been with me, that's worked hard, that I know his parents are bought in, than have a kid come over. But a lot of these powerhouse teams are completely built basically off pickup kids, you know, and they do a great job. I'm not taking nothing from them. They have some killer teams, but that's not my purpose of Cypress Elite. You know, I could easily go out there and pick the
Mhm.
best 25 kids in Houston, but I'd rather take my kids and go play. You know, we're undefeated this year, beating some of those teams. So just off of homegrown talent. You know, now we add players. You know, I added a few kids this off season. It's just I need a coach to speak on them. I'm not just usually adding kids just because they show up. If one of my coaches knows the parents, you know, I tell them, hey, it's on you if something goes wrong, but we'll give it a shot.
Mhm.
You know, so it's 7-on-7 though. It's very similar to select baseball, softball, basketball. It's a lot of
Okay.
teams where you'll be play a team one week and see the same kid that you played on a different team the last week. You know, we're so big that we kind of keep it out of our program because I can just pull kids up from other teams or move kids down or you know switch out whoever I need to switch out or hey who's
Mhm.
available this weekend, let's go play. You know, if you're paying to
Yeah.
be part of the lab, I'd rather you come play with us than me calling and picking up another kid.
Somebody
Now,
else.
towards the end of the
Yeah.
season, you end up picking up kids regardless, just because so many kids are busy or doing other stuff that you'll have to, you know. But tackle with
Okay.
us, no. Some teams, yeah, but with us, not really.
Okay. You know, you got like the different age groups in the organization. What's some things that the older age groups do different than the younger age groups, as in like drills and stuff like that?
So, like with our 18U, like our older boys, our 18 and our 15U, um, we don't really practice. You know, it sounds people, you know, we'll go win these tournaments. How much you all pro? We don't practice. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna make these high school kids that are running track, playing basketball, doing this,
Right.
feel like they gotta show up to 7-on-7 practice. I don't. I feel like you're lying if you say that you gotta be there. Now we go work out, we go to the gym, we do drills, like but if they're doing all that stuff on their own, we'll
They
work on
working
that
out.
stuff an hour before the game so we play Saturday. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? We'll fine tune stuff. Now, if we're constantly having problems, a certain team is not clicking, yeah, we'll get together and we'll practice. But it's hard to say the difference between the high school and youth because the high school boys are more like a professional type gym type workout. Um, the youth is, I mean, I really guess it's the same. You know, I really can't say it's a lot different because even the 10-year olds, like
Mhm.
we have them in the gym, like they're doing everything
Got
the
to
high
get them
school kids
ready.
are doing. You know, it's
Mhm.
a lot of the same. It's just it's kind of like they say, like if you go to the gym and you're moving weight, you're working out. You know, just stay busy. Like I'm a believer
Mhm.
in that. Like it's not necessarily who's doing the best drills or who's got the best coaches or it's are you working? You know, if you're working, you're getting better. You know, so that's kind of they're pretty much all the same, man. I, honestly, all the way from 6U up, like we try to just do the same thing, so they just steadily get better at it. You know,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
just
No, I
it's just
agree.
expecting the perfection's a lot different at the higher levels. You know, like if they screw up, what are you doing? Do you really want to play football? Because we're not babysitting anymore. You know,
Mhm.
you need to perfect this stuff on your own time. Because when we go
Yeah.
to a camp and you have our name, we put our name on you in these college camps. You better be. I mean, you're expected to really know what you're doing, you know, because I don't want to look bad. I don't want to have this coach give me the side eye. Like, I thought you said he was good. You know what I mean? So,
He found that jersey
yeah,
in the parking
yeah.
lot.
I don't know where he came from. But yeah, our
No,
biggest
no.
problem we have with camps is kids cutting in line.
No,
They,
man.
I'm just, I mean, I tell them, you got to cut in line, but just don't. You don't have to do it every play. That's where they don't
Yeah.
understand. But do it a little more subtle. Stand out, but don't be an asshole.
Yeah, right. Man, I just saw you just two
You
player
just
people
went.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just went. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. It's like, man, that that's 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 a
That's
big.
the problem you
Yeah,
have, right?
yeah.
But that's it's bad, but that's a good problem,
Right,
right?
right.
Some people have bad problems where the kids
I'd
don't
much
want to
rather
go.
than be cutting than standing in the back hiding. Because
Yeah, exactly.
you're
Yeah.
not doing nothing back there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. So you have, like you got the older ones, and maybe some of them is not getting the opportunities or the looks that some of the other ones are getting. Like, how do you keep the ones that's not getting as many looks just head on right than the other ones?
That's a good question. It's really difficult. We were having these discussions when we went on that bus tour. Because we sent
Mhm.
10 of our really good kids, some of our best kids on that tour. And some of them weren't getting the love they wanted to get on it. And
Mhm.
it's one of those things like, hey man, you just got to keep moving forward. Like it's not anything you can really control.
Yeah.
Um, that's where the mindset strength comes in. Like you may be doubted the whole time. You may not get an offer till 2 days before signing day. It's just part of it. And some of them are
Mhm.
the best kid. Like we have a kid, Randall Rush Jr. He's one of my favorite players I've ever seen, ever had, and he just doesn't get the love he deserves. But he's automatic. I mean, he's Travis Kelsey 2.0. Like he's always
Mhm.
open, catches everything. Um, just a dog. He's got everything you want in a football player. Wants to be out there. He'll play both sides of the ball. Um, Best hands in Texas, and I truly put that on anything. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, put
Line
that on
them up.
anything. He just doesn't get the love he deserves just because he's playing receiver tight end and he doesn't run a 4.4. He's
Mhm.
but he's working. He's gonna get offers. But he was on that bus tour, and he had sophomores and he's going into his senior year. He had kids going into a sophomore year, getting offers while he's there. Like, damn, no matter what, that takes a toll on you. Those
Mhm.
it had to tell him like, hey, you got to keep your head up. Like it's hey, whatever God given you that for whatever reason, just deal with it.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's all
Never
we
know
can
what's
say.
coming.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but that's a hard question. That's a hard because they're still kids at the end of the day. I mean, people forget like
Mhm.
Paris is a damn dude's a damn baby still. He's a kid like dealing with people calling him left and right for they're all still kids like even at high school
Yeah.
level and and as a kid you lay down at night and no matter what you're going to think like why am I not getting that love that they're getting and maybe I'm
Mhm.
better than him and it's just part of teaching them and it'll come just give it time and work harder coach I'm already working hard he dropped 20 pounds in the off season okay well keep going like it's just the best feeling when they do call you, Coach. I got my first offer, or Coach, I
Mhm.
got this, or I got like they all, these kids are really really family, and that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one is keeping their head on when it's
Yeah.
not going even in football alone in high school football. You have a kid, coach is pulling me on third down, like, well, damn, I don't agree with that. I mean, at all,
Mhm.
but you just have to do it. You have to do it.
Yeah.
Be a good teammate. Mother,
Mhm.
wrong. He's wrong, but what are you gonna do? Quit? You can't
Yeah.
quit.
True.
So you can't transfer. Just deal with it. Play ball. Like it's all part. It's the same aspect. Recruiting. I can't go get Wisconsin to give you an offer.
Yeah. Right.
We can reach out to the coaches. Hey, this kid's good. Take a look at him. They might throw it in the trash. I mean, can't guarantee
Yeah.
you
Can't,
anything.
right. You can't force a coach to want him.
But it's that family aspect again. Goes back to like how I run my program. All of our kids are they'll fight nonstop, and we have an 18U group message, and they fight nonstop. I mean, nonstop. But they all supportive of each other. You know, like you'll see them.
Mhm.
They'll be cussing each other out one day. The next day they're at each other's games. You know, going crazy on the side. So we're family, and I keep that. You know, I do events where all the high school kids come to the little kid stuff, and the little
Okay.
kids, they're the biggest fans of the high school kids. You know, so
Mhm.
we do a really good job of keeping everybody as a unit. You know, and it helps with stuff like that. It helps with the offers because they're all one. You know, they got to be happy
Yeah.
for their brother, even though the back of their head, of course, it sucks, right? But
Mhm.
it's just life. That's life, man. I mean, everybody's. I would love to be a millionaire, right? I mean,
Right.
it's got to
For
work.
real.
Not just gonna fall in place. So, you know,
Yeah. So,
that's definitely the hardest part of it, though. That question you ask is probably
mhm.
the hardest. The hardest part of what we deal with is the why factor of
Yeah.
why am I not getting this, you know? And we have Coach Mike that tells everybody, you know your why. Why are you doing this? Don't ask why you're not, but why are you doing this? So if you keep doing
Mhm.
it for your why, everything will fall in place eventually. But that is
Yeah.
definitely a hard part of it, you know. And then
Mhm.
parents and kids are, well, coach, why are you doing all this for him and not for me? And you know, that's not the case. It's just how stuff falls in
How
place.
it's planned. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
But
So, in softball, man, a lot of people like they get more recruitment looks during like the select aspect of the sport and this and that, right? So in football, I know Texas football is different than any other state in
right,
in
right.
the United States of America, right? But do your players, do they get more looks like during y'all season, like the elite, the select season, or during like
I
the
feel like football's got
regular
so big
season?
that recruiting is just almost year round. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now a lot
Okay,
of these colleges are in football season the same time as tackle season,
right.
so I feel like what I've seen, and I could be 100% wrong here. This is just me talking,
Hmm.
but I feel like a lot of it's definitely during the off season. You know, watching film or seeing a clip and then going back and watching film. You know, you'll have scouts and recruits at all the games, but I feel like it's more similar to select baseball, to where a lot of it's happening in the off season. You know,
Okay.
camps. But that's just
Mhm.
my opinion. And like I said, I'm still a student of the game and all that aspect. You know, I'm learning it a lot, and I'm trying to kind of blaze my own trail. And that's one thing that I've noticed is like during tackle season, go out there and perform. But
Mhm.
you may have a 15 sack game, and you know,
Nobody see
yeah,
it.
it's just it, it's just chance. You know, you're going to have offers during the season, obviously, but I feel like it's not the biggest part of it. But that, again, I could be 100% wrong there.
Right. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So being a organization, the director or whatever, you started all this. What advice would you give someone that may reach out to you and ask you a question like, "Hey, man, I want to decide to do what you did. I want to start me a football organization." What advice would you give them to start it up?
Um, Try to make friends, not enemies. You know, it's cutthroat, man. A lot of these guys smile in your face and just hope like hell you fail. You know what I mean? And um, I think just try to, like, I know a lot of these guys hate on me behind my back. I see a lot of
Mhm.
screenshots that people send me text, and I feel like I just still try to be a bigger person. You know what I mean? Like, hey man, y'all
Mhm.
doing good. Y'all doing this, and just always try to just keep on working, bro. Just I mean, I'm doing stuff every day. We're doing stuff no youth teams in the state are doing. You know, and uh, becoming ambassador of the Texans, youth ambassador, like stuff like that. Like that takes work. It takes time. It's not just something. Why'd he get that? Because they're from Cypress. You know, like
Mm.
it takes time and work. And I think the biggest thing if somebody's trying to do it is just do it for the right reason. You know, do it to really
Mhm.
actually help the kids and understand when you have $40,000 in the bank it's gonna be $45,000 gone out of the bank if you're doing it for the right reasons. You know,
Yeah.
it costs money. If you're doing it to make money, I can't give you any advice. You know, so it, all of my coaches, all of my everybody there has spent money out of their pocket to make stuff happen for these kids. You know,
Mhm.
and but everybody loves it. So it's my advice would just be to do it for the right reasons, and God will handle everything else. You know, so.
Okay. Okay. Like knowing what you know now, everything you done been through, what's some advice you would give yourself like when you first started this organization?
Um, start the recruiting stuff a little earlier. Like start the. I think I wanted to really bad, but I didn't try hard enough to get in that realm. And I wish I would have started a little earlier, you know. But I think I'm still 100 miles ahead of the game, you know. But that and just and not to take youth tackle so serious. I took youth tackle really serious at the beginning, and I needed
Okay.
to because I wanted to be competitive. So we kind of came out, you know, guns a blazing. But now I look back and that's probably what I would say is don't take youth tackle so serious. Let it be a little more fun because it's year round. You know, football's year
Yeah.
round. So if you make the little kids part miserable, then the whole thing is miserable.
Right. And my last question I have for you, man, is who would you like to see on the podcast? But your answer, you would have to help me get them on the pod.
Um, man,
You got a lot. You got a lot now.
I definitely think Eddie Russ, one of my coaches, would be a really good one to get on here. And then a few of my players, you know, Paris would be
hmm
good. Randall, the kid I told you, Randall, the one I love,
hmm
he'd be a great one to get on because he could have somewhere to voice his, you know,
hmm
his feelings. Man, I got so many. You tell me who you want, and we'll make it happen. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
so I mean, we can do a few. Just let me know, and we'll get them on.
Okay. So another thing I wanted to, reach out to you about is, since you have the org or whatever, once y'all start playing the season practices or stuff like that, man, I'm willing to come out also,
Okay. Okay.
do live interviews there at the practice,
Yeah.
at y'all
Same. Funny.
games
I was
and
about to say, like, just hit me on my head. A good one would be some of the dads, you know, that are from my older kids, like my 18U dads,
hmm
because they can kind of say everything that they've been through since they've been little kids all the way up to now, you know, and
okay, yeah.
that'd be, you know, I got Paris's dad, Andre Roy's dad, Randall's dad. Like those would be a few guys that would be really cool to just kind of hear what they have to say,
Yeah.
what their path has been this whole time, you know. So
Okay.
but yeah,
Okay.
definitely would love to have you come out for sure. When we do tryouts this year for the 7-on-7,
hmm
I'll send you that date. That would be a really good one to be too, because we're gonna have everybody and their mom out there, you know. So it'd be good to be out there at that. So,
Okay.
but I really
Okay, man.
appreciate you having me on. Man. It was a good time.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you giving me all this football knowledge, man. Because
Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes,
trying to. I got son, like I said, he want to play,
yeah.
so I need to get my brain right into it. All I was a basketball player. That
Start
was it. I
brushing it
never
back with
done
the pillow.
anything.
Every time he walks by, just hit him hard as you can with that pillow. Get him
Get
used
him
to
tough, right?
getting. Oh yeah, it'll be fun, man. I would just, I would just start them slow. Like, don't take it too serious. You know what I mean? Because
hmm
a lot of them get burnt out because there's too much pressure on them from the jump.
Yeah.
You know,
hmm
so that would be my advice.
Okay. All right, man. Hey, again, I really appreciate you for giving me your time, being on the pod. I want everybody to thank Coach Clint for giving us his time being on the pod.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right,
Have
man.
fun.
Appreciate it.
Be
All right,
safe.
man. Too. All right. That was Coach Clint, everybody. He gave us some good football knowledge right there. Something that, the pod, Levi's Youth Sports Talk, we don't get much football talk, but we finna get into it. We 90% softball, y'all, but one thing I can tell everybody is we finna venture off in all these sports. I'm in the Houston area. Sports is a little bit different out here. But Thank you, Coach Clint, for giving me your time. Hey, y'all, I want to say RIP to my mama. You know, she's always here. I got this picture up here for a reason. She's always right here with me through everything I go through. And I want to thank my sponsor. If y'all teams don't have a turnover chain, MVP chain, any type of chain, y'all need to holler at Justin Womack. He'll get you right. He do the best work. Justin Womack or the Garage Factory on Facebook. Y'all need to get at him. Until next time, y'all. Peace.